A new trend has emerged where some children believe they are animals known as furries. They purchase furry animal ears, paws, tails, and even collars online and wear them to school. This may seem harmless, but the truth is these students are causing disruptions in their school studies. Recently, some students at Mount Nebo Middle School in Payson, Utah, walked out of class stating they had had enough. The furries were making it difficult for them to walk down the school hallways.
They either bite us, they scratch us, they bark at us, they pounce on us, and then they perfume. They run on all fours and pounce on people.
In today's news and clown world, kids at a middle school, and remind you, middle school can start at like age 12, like middle school usually start at age 12, 6th grade. A bunch of middle schoolers had to have a walkout protest because their principals and the administration are allowing furries in the classroom. Now these furries are still children, but they're furries. And the kids themselves, the kids had to put on the adult pants and be the big boys and girls in the room and say, we don't want this. We don't want this in our schools. It's distracting. It's disturbing. We don't want it.
We begin in Payson, where a group of about 75 protesters showed up to Nebo Middle School today. They say it's an issue over students who call themselves furries.
Now, we've learned there have been reports at Nebo Middle School that students are getting mistreated over this topic.
There was some kids dressed up as animals, and I heard that another kid got bit by one of them.
There's a lot of speculation surrounding the protest that happened at Nebo Middle School Wednesday morning. Nearly 75 students and parents showed up facing the school, saying they're unhappy with how administration is handling reports of harassment.
Okay.
You guys cannot record me without my permission! This is video a Nebo Middle School student took last week. Parents say there's an issue between some students and others who call themselves furries, or people who enjoy dressing up as cartoonish animals.
Back when I went to school, you couldn't dress that way, you couldn't do certain things, and I think it kind of needs to go back a little bit. Like, I know kids need their own personalities, but it's ridiculous when kids are dressing like animals and licking and biting people. I just don't think that's okay.
This is Strudel, a member of the furry fandom. Though they've been a furry for over a decade, they have their own opinions.
It's crazy that it's escalated to this point where these kids are being so distracting to their peers that their peers want to stage a walkout. So to have, the next generation kind of muddy our name and not represent it very well, it is kind of disappointing.
Strudel believes there should be some limits.
Continue doing things you like, continue dressing up, continue making art, but maybe let's keep it outside of school hours.
As for the school, Sorensen says they have one main goal.
We want every student to feel safe when they come to school, and we want students to get along. In fact, we want adults to get along.
Okay, so the district says they've worked with some students whose dress and appearance they say might be disruptive to the school environment. They say they do invite parents to talk with administration to learn more about how they're handling this situation. Brian, back to you.
Here we go.
What's up, guys? It's Reflex, and I'm about to go to class in fursuit. I'm about to go to class in fursuit. I'm about to go to class in fursuit.
And luckily, from the videos I've seen, these kids don't understand what furries are connected to. They just think that is weird. And why is the schools allowing this when there's dress codes for everything else? You can't wear certain clothing with certain language on it. You can't show too much skin. You can't have your shorts or your skirts too high. So why is this allowed, right? Now, we know what furries are connected to, and unfortunately, I believe the kids who are wearing these furry costumes know what these furries are connected to. If not, they're in that community and eventually will be lured in that direction. Now, furry is a community of people who wear costumes to express themselves however they wish. However, it has a colorful spin to it, but it's connected to kink. Furriness is connected to kink. So you have middle schoolers, again, starting at the age of 12 years old, wearing a costume involved in a community that's very connected to adult play, to kink, that a 12-year-old should have no knowledge of. You know what I mean? Hopefully, to them, it's just like an anime or something like that, and it's just a costume. But even if it is, it means they're this close to that world at possibly 12 years old. That's disturbing, but not surprising, because we've heard TikTokers and people online actually express that they believe kink and kids should go together because they're fucking sick. And they have a really twisted idea of the boundaries and the appropriateness with children.
I want to clarify this for a second here. I'm not saying that kink isn't kid-friendly. I'm saying that kids and kink can coexist at Pride in a totally fine way. So I'm not saying that kink isn't appropriate for kids. I'm saying they can and should coexist with each other.
For the most part, I blame the parents. Like, why does your kids have anything to do with furriness? Why are they this close or involved in kink groups? Why or how were they allowed out the house in a furry costume? And even if they snuck out the house and put it on later, you have to know by now it's been happening because there's a protest going on. So there has to be some sort of noise or talk or conversations being had. I think a lot of parents drop the ball. This is why I constantly say stop telling people to have kids. I think a lot of parents are tired, too lazy, don't want to be involved, and let their kids do whatever they want. The reason why a lot of the administration is allowing this to happen, because unfortunately somehow kink has been put under the queer umbrella. That's why they allow drag queens to teach your kids and read stories to your children. And as much as you, again, want to put rainbow colors and Teletubby theme songs over drag is very much rooted, deeply rooted in adult entertainment. But because it's under the queer umbrella, it's protected. Just like kids can now identify as cats, and if the teachers don't respect their pronoun or their identity, they can get fired.
So now we are seeing kids that are identifying as animals going to school, and they are purring instead of answering questions, and they meow, and the teachers are not allowed to question it because it's considered a queer identity.
So you have kids that are going to school and they're saying, I'm a cat, mm-hmm. and the teachers have to affirm them as a cat.
Yes, so it's not
schools
just
are like
the young ones.
literal zoos now, basically.
They are.
There were kids literally protesting litter boxes being put into the school's bathroom. School, an education institution that's supposed to be preparing your children to be adults, to adult in the world, are putting litter boxes in the bathrooms so they can respect their cat pronouns.
A video appeared on YouTube. It was picked up by libs of TikTok. Students were protesting at a school in Utah over furries, people who dress up like cartoon animals in their school. And perhaps furry isn't the right word. Some have said, no, there's actually a furry in this article saying, you're talking about therians. Therians are people who think they're actually animals. Furries are just wearing costumes. Okay. In this video, the students say there are litter boxes in the bathrooms. I don't know that there are actually litter boxes in the bathrooms, but at this point, I've personally been told this has happened by someone who is a first-hand witness. Not at schools, though. I'll explain that story. Joe Rogan said a friend told him that their kid's school did this. Now we have students, several dozen, saying this happened. I do not believe there is an organized conspiracy theory. It's possible there are rumors. I can only say that for myself. But when you have all these kids outside of the school saying, they did this, am I supposed to believe that these children organized a protest and agreed amongst themselves, conspired, as it were, to fabricate a claim about litter boxes and bathrooms? I think Occam's razor at this point just suggests schools have done this.
And the reason why the schools are saying this is fine, because again, it's under the queer umbrella, and anything under the queer umbrella is protected. It's weird how weird, kinky, adult thing stuff is being put under the queer umbrella so it can be introduced to children. I'm gonna need my queer folks to stand up, rise up, and speak out, because this affects everybody. When you stay silent about this stuff, this affects your identity too if you are queer. Like, I understand everybody wants to like mind their business and stuff like that. It is not, it doesn't make you a bad person if you don't protest it. But in your everyday life, in your personal life, when this shit comes up in conversation, shut that shit down. No, we don't fuck with that stuff. Kids needs to be extremely separated from the queer umbrella, period. Even if they're queer. You can respect that they're queer. You can respect that they're gay or bi or whatever, but let them just be children. Let them grow up detached from all of that stuff so they can be healthy adults, so they can come to that conclusion on their own without all of this weird shit affecting their thinking or their thought patterns. Without being scooped up in this weird ideology, let them grow up normal. Let them grow up healthy. I know people think that putting, attaching kids to the queer umbrella is like protecting children and stuff like that. It's not. It's too much shit under that umbrella. It's too much. You guys decided to pack every fucking weird, kink, bizarre identity under this umbrella. So it's not a safe space anymore, in my opinion, for children. Children in the queer umbrella needs to be completely and utterly detached. Let them go through life in their own journey to step upon their identities on their own. At least till they're fucking in high school. This is middle school, starting at 12 years old. This is weird as fuck. And it shouldn't be happening. I blame the parents. All of these parents, terrified of allowing their kids to go to the mall on their own, don't want the kid to have access to the world, but let them have free range on the internet, so allowing the entire fucking world to have access to your child. And you don't know what they're doing. You're absent. Why the fuck does your 12-year-old, possibly 12-year-old, know anything about a furry? Why? Anyway, I'm done. I know some of you guys don't like when I'm more serious or more angry. I get it. I try to be smiles on this channel, but sometimes when it comes to children, it pisses me off. I can't really help myself when it comes to children. This is why I can never debate some people who have weird ideas about children, because I would just literally want to reach through the camera and like bash their faces in. Because when it comes to children, I just don't mess with that stuff. Let kids be fucking kids. Let them have normal childhood. That's why everybody's saying like Gen Z looks like they're 40 already. Because none of them had normal childhood. They all had to grow up and was overtly like sexualized on TikTok or Musically when it was back when they were 12-year-olds, when they were tweens. They get a chance to be fucking kids. You have 12-year-olds now, got full makeup on, already know what bondage is. When I was 12, I was wearing oversized Mickey Mouse t-shirts. Kids are not allowed to be kids anymore. But again, I mostly blame the parents. It's your fault. You did this to them. That you're not triggered, then it's not you. If you're triggered, then it's probably you. The shoe fits. I blame 100% the parents. 100%. You can point at this, you can point at that, you can point at trans, queer, rainbow, but at the end of the day, it starts at home.